Matt Dannenberg, Indigenous Kaz, Mashka Zibing and Dunjaba, Minawa, Nibi, Odena, Unjaba, Minawa, Milwaukee, and Da. Basically, I said I'm Matt Dannenberg. I'm from Bad River. Grew up in Nebe, Odena, which is Water Village or Watertown, Wisconsin, and am currently in Milwaukee. I love Wisconsin, camping with my dad at Devil's Lake State Park, enjoying the natural resources, and it's that connection to the environment that reconnected me with my tribal roots. Several years ago, if I knew I was going to be speaking Ojibwe into a camera, I would have never have guessed that. I grew up with an identity crisis and not being connected to my native heritage. My mother, all I knew of it were stories from her about my grandfather coming home drunk, abusing my grandmother and her siblings. She did not want to be associated with that part of her heritage. And every once in a while, get a part of our Indigenous culture, going to Indian Summerfest, visiting my grandpa maybe once every 5 years, but grew up far removed from it. My dad and I were camping one time, and this huge thunderstorm came through and flooded our entire campsite. I just became fascinated by severe weather. My mom would videotape every Storm Chaser TV special. I wore out the VHS of Twister with Bill Paxton and pursued my dream of being a storm chaser, going to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, studying atmospheric and oceanic science. And that dream was crushed by Calculus 222. So where one dream is crushed, another dream was realized. I got involved with a campus organization called Big Red Go Green and went to a political training. At that training, saw all these young, energetic people up in front of the room and said, if I can't become a climate scientist, maybe I can influence our elected officials to take action on climate change, the biggest crisis facing our world, facing the state of Wisconsin. I said, you know what, I'm gonna become one of those people up in front of the room training someday and inspire people to take action and to get involved with their elected officials. And at that training, I met the field director for Wisconsin League of Conservation Voters. I said, that sounds like a really interesting group. Maybe I'll try to intern with them for my last semester. They ended up hiring me after my internship, and I became a community organizer. And so I went from intern to community organizer to field director. I've been there 8 years now. A year into the job at Wisconsin League of Conservation Voters, we faced a huge obstacle, which was the Jobs for Generations bill. We termed it the open pit mining bill. This open pit mine would have been 22 miles long, a half-mile wide, thousands of feet deep, and it was 10 miles upstream of the Bad River, the river that is the lifeblood of my tribe's reservation. And so the threat of that mine coming in really sparked us into action. I got to connect with tribal leaders, and one of them was Cherie Perro. Cherie was on the tribal council, and she's become my reservation mom. She introduced me to community members, other tribal leaders. She introduced me to people that actually knew my grandfather. They told me great stories about the better side of him that I never got to witness. So together, working with Cherie and other community leaders, we had a listening session on the tribe. We got tribal members to come down to the state capitol and tell their stories about how their children are gonna be affected. We came together, tribal leaders, the environmental movement, and stop that mining legislation from moving forward. Throughout my journey and career at Wisconsin League of Conservation Voters, I got to live out my dream of getting up and training in front of rooms, building skills with young leaders and mentoring interns like I was to become leaders and step up into the role and to keep our movements sustainable and full of energy and youth.